Hello, good morning, and you're welcome to our weekend edition of this program, Close Flow, here on NT2 Lagos Network Center. And it's always, ever, our delight and our pleasure to welcome you to this program, where all of us can then begin to share ideas, opinions, and perceptions on how our dream Nigeria can be made real. Today, we have gone out again to invite another Nigerian to the studio to come and speak with us, on some other critical issues about our national life. This time around, we are looking at the organized private sector. We are looking at professional bodies who are also Nigerians, who are also operating in this environment. In spite of all the difficulties, we are going to be asking questions if we are actually observing best practices as professionals, or we are still not too far from what we blame public service for not being able to do. That's some level of incompetence and all that. So our guest this morning, therefore, is a consultant builder and property developer. At a point, was also a member of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives. And then I also used to know him because he was the president of the Nigerian Builders Association, and I used to talk to him that time, way back then. Then he became a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and today he is the president of the Professional Bodies of Nigeria. You are welcome, Bala Kaoje. You're welcome to our program.
Thank you very much, my dear.
Good morning again.
I appreciate it. Good morning to you also.
It's been some years now, but let's just go straight to what is on the table right now, and let's leave building first.
That is correct.
How many do we have in this APBN? How many of you actually? I know there are about almost 100 professional bodies in Nigeria. I mean, either registered or not, or associations. So how many do you have in APBN?
Yeah, well, actually in APBN we have presently 28 member bodies, because APBN is not just an organization that registers every association. No, we only consider associations that are backed by Act of Parliament, those that are really qualified to be called professionals. Those are the ones we deal with. And we have only 28 at the moment. Many have sent their papers, okay, but we scrutinize these papers. We send them to CAC. We also check to see whether they have any acts, and we find out they do not have, and we discard them.
I like that. So it's not an all-commerce club.
It is not an all-commerce club. So I assure you, our members stick to professionalism.
Now, Bala Kaoje.
Yeah. Now,
for these registered associations, you're like a quasi body. You administer. You also, provide some kind of supervision of your members.
That is correct.
Now, so can we hold you responsible if some of your members are not doing what they should be doing?
Well, I think in some way, yes, you can hold us responsible. But somebody can do something before you know he has done it, and then you wedge in to correct such a person. So in most cases, we continuously interface between our members. Like yesterday, we just held an annual general assembly. All the presidents of these professional bodies were present. Their members accompanied them. So we keep on discussing, dialoguing amongst ourselves, talking about the way forward for Nigeria and the way forward for the various professions. So I think we tried as much as possible to be up to date amongst ourselves in terms of talking.
Okay. Now, so let's bring it home. Let's put it on the street. We have had incidences of collapsed buildings. I'm taking this because this is your forte. This is your own area. It's a core competence.
You are correct.
How bad do you feel about that, to start with first? Let's look at that first.
Well, I think it is, if I use any word, I don't feel satisfied. If I use any word to describe the situation in which I am in respect of collapsing buildings in Nigeria, And the fact of the matter is that we have been trying our best. Ever before I became the president of NIOB,
yes,
those people, my predecessors, had tried their best. When I came, I continued from where they stopped. telling governments what we need to do. But unfortunately, you talk and talk and talk, the government do not listen. So what do? We are still pushing. At a certain point in time, when I was Minister of the Federal Republic, I was able to work in with APBN before I became president.
Yes.
And other professional bodies in the built environment, that we must come up with a minimum standard for this nation. And it was agreed. We were able to force ourselves onto the minister, and the minister had to listen to us.
Yes.
And a committee was set up to work on a minimum standard. And that book that came as a result of that committee is called the National Building Code. As I speak with you, this National Building Code is still lying down.
The printer's house?
No, not in the printer's house. It was finally printed. It was debated in the Federal Executive Council. Luckily enough, I was there. I encouraged the then Minister for Housing, Mimiko, who is presently the governor of Ondo
State.
Yes. So we brought that issue to council, and we debated it. Myself and Mimiko debated it. We were supported by other ministers. It was passed in the Federal Executive Council. That's a good law for Nigeria, at least as a kind of standard, first phase of standard that we'll do, which will be subject to amendments, reviews and ratifications over time. From there, the minister, with the approval of the president, forwarded it to National Assembly. As I'm talking to you, this bill is still dilly-dallying in the National Assembly, years after it has been submitted. Now, I want to say something. Here in Africa, we are supposed to be leading in many spheres of life, because they even call Nigeria the giant of Africa.
Yeah.
But I tell you, all the countries that surround us here have minimum standards in construction. We don't have in Nigeria. So you don't hear of too many collapsed buildings in Benin,
countries. Yes,
in Benin, in Niger, in Chad. You don't hear, because they have standards. People are checking, but we do not have in Nigeria. So don't be surprised that buildings are still collapsing in Nigeria.
Today,
yes, and there's nothing anybody can do about it, because whether you like it or not, some people will still go and do the wrong thing.
Yeah, because there's no punitive measure. There's nobody policing the practice.
Nobody, because look, whatever, no matter how we look at it, the political will is important to be able to drive any issue in any country. And once the political will is not there, then you just have to be sorry to yourself.
Now, that's a sorry state, really, and I can see the passion, the way you feel about this.
Yeah.
But let me also, strike a note here. Why is it difficult for officials or for competent hands, for professionals, experts who now take offices or take positions in government, and they cannot seem to function anymore? Is it a Nigerian factor? Because look at the situation you just painted now. You were able to push this through. It passed the Federal Executive Council, got into the National Assembly, and then it's stuck there. Why do we have that kind of environment?
Yeah, well, I think generally Nigerians don't seem to look at what concerns them and face it squarely. Nigerians seems to play with every aspect of life,
especially
and perhaps
national life.
National life, and perhaps that is why we are where we are today. I believe if Nigerians had been serious people, facing things in the true sense of it, we would have left the position in which we are as of today. Many things are happening in the wrong way in Nigeria because Nigerian people don't seem to be serious people, generally. But there are some serious ones, but many people are not serious, as far as I'm concerned. Because you look at the situation where people are crying that, look, buildings are collapsing. We have a minimum people are dying, properties are being lost. We have minimum standards. We need this building code to come out backed by law, so that the professional can bite. A professional can't bite if he has no law that is behind him. It's just like EFCC that is crying every day. They make a law for to fight corruption, but the law is ineffective because there are lacunas all over the place. Why should government make laws with lacunas all over the place? They should make laws that can be effective. Watertight. So that people will be afraid to do the wrong thing. Then the nation can move forward. But with this kind of situation, I'm afraid.
We are just going to be going around in circles.
Oh, yes.